Hey, how's it going guys? My name's Abyss, and in today's video, I just kinda wanted to talk about Acheron and power creep. I will preface this by saying I do like Acheron as a character. This is just me talking about her as a playable character, and just the interesting effect I think she's had on the game. I'll kick things off just talking about power creep. Now, inherently, I don't think power creep is A, bad, and B, avoidable. Without a bit of power creep, sometimes the game will get stale. There'll be no need to pull for new characters. You can kind of just clear everything with the same team. It's just the way that it's done I think is what's important. And I think there's two main components for this. The first being the speed at which it's done, and the second being the format of power creep. Speed is obviously self-explanatory, how quick it's done, so in real life time. But by format, I just mean like adding new modes which different units or newer ones will excel in, while still keeping in the older modes where other units would succeed. So basically the different modes that we have in HSR. This leads me to Acheron, who I'd say is probably the main cause for what's happening now. She's a unit that was instantly S++ tier, top of the leaderboards, and she had no real drawbacks. She excelled in every game mode and was the best from debut. No crazy 5-star supports or anything like that. You know, no one made exactly for her kit. No game mode buffs were needed. She was just a pure powerhouse, without even reaching max potential. I think the moment people got their hands on her and started to build her to like a decent level, even with like just, you know, mid-level relics, people were doing the most damage they had ever done with a typical unit. And this led to kind of like warping how damage was seen by these people and a lot of others. You no longer needed those crazy good builds, and half the time she was outperforming anyone with a crazy good build anyway. You also didn't need to share any of the other like 5-star super good harmony characters, since Acheron didn't need them. She was almost too good to be true. And in a way, I think it kinda was. Most people did get on with HSR just fine, but there started to become more discontent and frustration with other units being less performative. How can I spend months building one unit and they're doing way less than an instant build with Acheron? Don't forget, Acheron's best in slot relics are pretty good on most DPS units anyway, so even if you were sharing relics, she was doing way more, and it was by a landslide too. So it isn't really to do with relic luck. I don't think a lot of people just suddenly got super good relics as soon as Acheron came out. I sure as fuck didn't. I don't think this was just a turning point on the consumer side of things, but also on Hoyoverses. If a unit that good comes out, how are you going to sell the other DPS who will come out afterwards? Because they're only going to be really used in their relative MOC cycle, and then you won't see them again. Or pure fiction or whatever, you know how it is. Hell, why would you even need to pull for a pure fiction character anymore? You probably have Herta, and now you have Acheron for another side. Acheron works pretty well in there. You kind of see where I'm going? So if they want to sell a new character, they're gonna have to make them pretty strong. As much as you may think otherwise, a lot of people just pull for characters to make their gameplay experience much easier. And the surefire way to do that is just by getting a stronger character. Of course, there is a ton of people that just pull for looks and what character they like as a personality, but we can't sit here and say that damage potential isn't even taken into account. And if you don't think power creep is real, I just want you to think about the DPS units that came out after Acheron. Obviously, they're gonna need to sell you on it so they can make money. Let's look at Boothill. Wildly blew out the competition from his fellow Hun characters and introduced a new meta that focused on break. So immediately we're trying to shift away from what Acheron was doing by adding something that she doesn't exactly excel in. Not that she needed to. But anyways, back to Boothill. He made a new meta, he raises the toughness bar, implants his own weakness, and just does incredible damage even without a light cone. Even the best sealers were only doing around 250 to 300k. And not I'm talking about E6 and all that, but like say an E0 like incredible build was doing around that much. And then you have Boothill. No light cone, 600k. So quite literally doubling the damage with less investment than you could imagine. Not to say he has zero, but I'm not going to go into the specifics exactly. Plus we both know who's easier to build, let's not argue about that. Then we've got the next DPS to come out, Firefly. Another extremely strong DPS unit with fairly low requirements. She shreds the toughness bar, also implants her own weakness, does blast damage, and just insane damage overall with free-to-play light cones. So we can see the trend here that they're getting super OP, and they aren't just limited to one game mode. Acheron dominates all three pretty much, and the other two are top picks in MOC and Apocalyptic Shadow. With Jade, she'll probably dominate when it comes to pure fiction and not the other two, but as far as I'd seen, the majority of the consensus was that she was a bad unit gameplay wise. Obviously the Domi Mommy kind of affects, you know, maybe brainwashed a couple of people, but outside of pure fiction, again, she's not that great. Just to tie me back to the original point in this video, do I think that Acheron ruined HSR? And in a sense, I do think she did. I think she was a little too OP compared to what we already had, and I just think she came out a bit too soon. I don't think I need to mention this, but obviously I'm not talking about how early she came out in the story, just having this strong of a unit this early on. I mean, when she came out, we were barely a year into Sorrow, if even that. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to make a video just to talk about how interesting I find this whole scenario. Either way, I hate using her, I do regret pulling her, but I love her voice actor, especially the JP one. And her aesthetics are super dope. I just think she was too OP. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you could leave a like and maybe check out my other content. I do make guides, and when Acheron's guide does come about, I will be recommending her, even though I don't think she's the most fun unit to play. I also do partially blame her for bringing around some of the most annoying people in the community, especially those brain-rotted idiots that were telling me the average Acheron does nearly 4 million on an alt in MOC. Get the fuck out of my comment section with that shit. Okay, thanks for watching, bye. Wait, that's not my outro. Peace.